goes wrong. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we're all good.
Amazing, amazing, thank you. Okay, so your Year 5 class teachers is starting with me. I am Miss Eaton. I am the class teacher for Year 5AE. Mr. Ashby.
Hello, I am Mr. Ashby, or Stephen Ashby, and I am the class teacher for 5SA.
That was a good start. Hi everyone, I'm Miss Clark. I teach in 5FC. This is my second year in Year 5, so really excited to crack on with another year.
Hello everybody, my name is Bianca Mead and I'm the class teacher for 5KB.
Amazing, we'll go to the next slide then. Mr. Ashby, over to you.
Awesome. So we have two very experienced teaching assistants with us in Year 5. We have the wonderful Miss Mariam, and we have the equally as wonderful Miss Wendy, and they've worked in Year 5 for a couple of years now. So they know the curriculum really, really well, and they know best how to support the children of Year 5.
Okay, so as well as us, lovely lot, we also have some extremely talented specialist teachers who teach the children, well, music and French once a week, Islamic twice a week, Arabic 3 times a week, unless your child is Arabic A, and PE twice a week. So you can see on there we've got Miss Colleen, Miss Chakawi, who is new to the academy this year, Mr. Zakia, Miss Rasha, and Miss Harty. Do feel free, if you have any queries about specialists, to directly contact the specialist teachers. They do have their email addresses as well. So you can always branch out to them for communication as well.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Okay, so a timetable, a sample. This is my class's timetable. All the teachers' timetables are very similar. We all have English and maths at the same time. And we all have Arabic and PE at the same time. The things that are different will be our specialist subjects, for example, French and music and Islamic, and also our extracurricular activities, for example, not extracurricular, but extracurriculum subjects, so moral, science, social, and connected curriculum. These are all taught at different times over the year group. Each session is an hour long, Sunday to Wednesday, and then as we move on to Thursday, it is 50-minute lessons because we have a half day. We finish at 1 o'clock on those days. We have registration from 7:45, but the children can enter the school from 7:25, and then we begin the day. The children have breaks, which obviously breaks and lunch times look a little bit different at the moment to what they would normally look like, where the children are actually in their seats and in their classroom. But break is 20 minutes and then lunch is 50 minutes. We have 5 English and maths sessions a week, 2 science, 2 connected, and a social and moral. So yeah, that is an example of a Year 5 timetable.
So timings and drop off and pick up. So Miss Eaton just covered a few of these. So our timings for school is 7:45, it's our class in the morning, and 3 p.m. is our finish time. So that's Sunday through to Wednesday. The day is a little bit shorter on Thursday from 7:45 until 1 p.m. So please make sure that your child is in class and ready to learn by 7:45. As Miss Eaton had mentioned, the doors open at 7:25, so students can arrive at school from that time forward. So please make sure that your child is on time, no late drop-offs, and the collection at 3 p.m, please make sure you are on time to pick up your child as well.
Thank you, Ms. Mead. Mr. Ashby.
Okay, attendance. We always strive to uphold the highest level of attendance, and we're aiming for every child to have 96% attendance as a minimum. Obviously, as an academy, we would obviously like 100% attendance, but we fully accept this is not always possible. What we do ask, though, is that if your child is off sick for whatever reason, that not only do you email your teacher to let you know, but also let absences_WEC know. Because that will probably save you a phone call from when they call you to say, is your child in school or not? Given all that's going on in the world at the moment, we are having to stipulate that please do not send your child to school if he or she has fever or cold/flu-like symptoms. That can involve constant sneezing. It can also involve like a dry cough or just any type of cough. And I think that's just us as a school being very protective of all of the children that we've got in school. And so if we see any of those symptoms, then unfortunately we will have to send your child back to you. School leave. Again, school leave, please, there are some forms that you need to fill out if you're going to be requesting school leave. Again, that will kind of be, whether that's approved or denied, that will depend on a couple of reasons that you can see on the screen. Family holidays, birthdays, traveling, family visits, or any other kind of non-essential trips will definitely be denied. Consideration will be given if your child's attendance is greater than 96. So if it's not greater, then there's a very high likelihood it will be denied. But if your child's attendance is greater than 96, then things such as close family weddings, looking at other schools in different countries, or if you are leaving the country for other reasons, that will be given into consideration and all will be up to the decision of year group leaders, as well as Mr. Cooper. Again, if there's any emergency health reasons or bereavements or relative or religious holidays, then again, consideration will be given to those type of reasons, regardless as to whether your child has 96% attendance. But I think a bit of a rule of thumb is if it's a bit of an emergency or an absolute necessary trip, it will be considered. If it's a holiday or such other things, then it could be denied. Now, if it is denied, it doesn't mean that we're not saying, hey, you can't go. It just means that as a school, we do not give you permission for your child to be absent. If you then decide that you wish to take your child, that is up to you, but it will go down as an unauthorized school leave, unfortunately. All right, but the most important thing is if your child is away for any reason, please email your class teacher, and also absences_wet.
Right, thank you, Mr. Ashley. Sorry about interrupting then. Miss Clark.
Okay, so uniform is a massive part of how we present ourselves in school. So we obviously have quite a strict stipulation on uniform. Please check that your child's uniform, I'm sure at this moment in time you've all been out and bought new things because they've probably grown since lockdown. So please make sure that you check the sizing regularly. Obviously we don't want the children drowning in shirts and things. We don't want things to be health and safety hazard potentially. So please make sure that everything is the right size. This year, Sunday and Thursdays are our PE days. So please make sure that your children come into school until further notice in their PE kit. That is so important because obviously the children can't get changed, obviously for social distancing reasons, etc. House colours, so you'll notice if your child is in Pearl, if you've been with us for a long time, they will wear the white striped tie, ruby red, emerald green, onyx black, so please make sure it's the correct tie. Children, please make sure you send them in the morning with the shirts tucked in, the top button done up, the tie done nicely, and this is a really important one, smart black shoes, not smart black trainers. Okay, that's so important. We want those because if you look down here, they should be polished regularly, and trainers are not, even if they're black, they are not school shoes. Okay, so please make sure that they are not in trainers. Hats, essential. Please make sure names are in everything. We will hopefully go in for outdoor play sometime when the weather cools down, socially distanced of course, so it's really important that your child has got the correct colour hat as well to match their house colour. And obviously a new addition to our uniform this year is our masks, so please make sure children are coming into school with their masks on, and perhaps pack them, if they're wearing like the medical ones, a spare, because sometimes I've noticed this week and last week some of the children might get a bit of water or something on their mask, or a bit of food maybe, so please just maybe pack them an extra mask as well. That'd be really handy. And please make sure they're coming in wearing their masks in the morning as well.
Thank you, Miss Clark.
You're welcome.
Breaks and lunches. So at the moment, the students are eating at their tables inside the classroom. So that will happen until further notice. Please make sure that you are packing healthy lunches. So if they are not being packed from home, then you may order them from Slices. So the details on how to order are found on D6, or there's an email address that you can email as well. As I mentioned before, healthy foods, healthy snacks, please. And there is no water dispensers at the school at the moment. So please make sure that your child has plenty of water for the day, and pack an extra bottle as well on PE days, please, because they do go through quite a bit more. The next one is quite important. So no nuts. So we have quite a few students at school with allergies. So please make sure that you are checking the ingredients of the foods that you're sending into the classroom. And that includes Nutella. Some people are still packing that. Okay, so please make sure no Nutella, no nuts, and no pork as well. If your child has any allergies, please make sure that you are reporting them to the teacher and also the medical team, so we are aware of those as well. And promote independence with your children as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mead. Okay, so in school, we have a lot of ways that we like to promote positive behaviour. Firstly is our traffic light system. Now, every day the children start on the green traffic light, and they then, as they continue throughout the day, they will either remain on the green traffic light, or should they receive a warning and then a second warning, they will then be moved on to what we call amber. The children that are obviously currently at the school, they are very much aware of the process of this. And then obviously when they get to amber, they then have another warning again, and then a second warning. And if they are required for that second warning, then they are moved on to red. This is obviously a rarity for most children, but should they get onto red, then the head of year is obviously informed, and the children will have to have a conversation with their class teacher and potentially the head of year as well. Moving on to Class Dojo. Now, this is an app that we as teachers use. We have not linked it to families because we are only using it for house points. So when the children receive a house point or a dojo, we add it to the app, and they can receive dojos for lots of different types of things. So obviously we have it all linked to our WEC learner profile and the flower. So we have a respectful house point, a critical thinker, a independent inquirer. I'm trying to think of them all off the top of my head now. A team worker one, a respectful, resilient, and responsible one, and a risk taker one. Please, Year 5 teachers, correct me if I've missed one. And all of these, when they show these skills and these attributes, they will receive a class dojo. We also have other dojos that include, I know the team have also recently added one for staying safe. So if we're all staying safe and promoting social distancing, ensuring that we're wearing our masks, they will receive a dojo for that. And so, yeah, I don't think I've missed any dojos out. Miss Clark, I know that you are a lover of Class Dojo. Have I missed any?
I was just going to say home learning. We have a home learning one. And we said safe, keeping safe. I'm trying to think now. No, but we do have, just as we don't often use this. I very rarely use it, but we do have one where we can take dojos off in case, if they're off task. So we do have that option. The children are aware, but I don't think I've ever really used it, to be honest. So it is there, though.
It is very rare, and we kind of, when the children are maybe not doing as they should, we usually resort to the traffic light system rather than removing dojos. And then we have the house leaderboard, which all their dojos are added up weekly and added to the house leaderboard, and then at the end of the term we see which house is winning between Onyx, Ruby, sorry, I need to clear my throat, between Onyx, Ruby, Emerald and Pearl. And then our weekly certificates, we have the Learner of the Week, which we in Year 5 award every Sunday, and they are all again linked to our WEC Learner flower. We also do, when we've got Star Reader all set up, we also have an accelerated reader assembly which will be on Tuesday, sorry. And these will reward children who have done 100% quizzes. They've got 100% in every quiz that they've taken, and they also ones where they've reached millionaires, etc. And another weekly certificate, well, not necessarily a weekly certificate, but certificates that we reward, is our pen license certificate, our license to quill. So if the children's handwriting remains to a very high standard for a period of time, then they will receive a pen license and our license to quill award. Mr. Ashby.
Okay, communication. I'm sure you've been kind of inundated with kind of communication at the moment. It's always the way at the start of the year. We kind of get bombarded, especially if you're kind of new to the school. You feel like sometimes you're almost drowning in it a little bit. But don't worry, we do plan to streamline this a little bit easier. Some real key kind of pieces of information that you need to know and you should be aware of, certainly is the Year 5 Padlet. Which is the QR code on the right hand side, and that is kind of the one-stop shop for kind of everything really. We put notices on there, it has homework, it's got skills boosts, anything to do with Arabic, French, you name it, it goes on that Year 5 Padlet. So if nothing else, quickly scan that Year 5 Padlet QR code because that's what you're really going to need as well. The number one kind of communication for information from the school is the D6 app. I'm sure many of you will be aware, and as a parent of the school, I have the D6 app, and I do, whilst I don't want to say it's complicated, it's not very complicated, there's a lot of information on there, but once you get used to the D6 app, it really does make your life so much more easier. So if you haven't yet got a D6 app, please do download that. If you need any assistance, then speak to the class teachers and we can always help you out. Emails, again, we're going to try to cut back on emails so that all information is kind of funneled a little bit onto one handy place, and that's going to be on the D6 app. So like I said, please get that if you haven't yet got it. We do have a Year 5 Instagram group, and I put my hand up, I'm a bit of an Instagram dinosaur. So I think the lovely ladies are going to be guiding me on that a little bit more, but we will start posting pictures and some of the children's work on there as well. There is a Facebook page for whole school communication, which is where you can keep an eye on what the school is up to as well. And there's also the GEMS Connect app. So the GEMS Connect app perhaps isn't so important at the moment, but all school reports do go on there, and there's information about school buses, fee payments and attendance as well. So these are kind of the main kind of levels of communication that we promote within the school. And again, the core ones, or the real important ones, are the Year 5 Padlet and also the D6 app. So if you haven't yet got those, please find your way to them. If you do need some assistance, speak to your class teacher and they can guide you a little bit more. But all of this information is available for you so that you can keep track on everything that's happening in the school.
Oh, there we go, unmuted, perfect. Okay, photo permission. Now, obviously, we like to document what the children are doing day to day in school, whether that's maybe doing an art lesson or doing a piece of writing or they're playing some sports or anything like that. So it's really vital that we have that consent from you to be able to post their pictures perhaps on Instagram or Facebook, or if GEMS come in to take photos for corporate or anything like that. So please make sure that that is signed. I know most people have, but perhaps if you're new to the school, you might not have done. So we like to obviously celebrate things all the time. So if it's AR, we might post on the Instagram page, or if it's something bigger or wider, or your child has done something in the community or anything like that, we might want to share it on Facebook. So please make sure we have your consent. If you don't want to give your consent, that's absolutely fine, but we need to be well aware as soon as possible. If your child doesn't have the permission, then their photos obviously won't be included or updated. So yeah, we want to try and make sure everyone is included. So please let us know, email the class teacher if you need to either update your consent, so you might change your mind and you might want your children to be on social media and things like that, or if you've changed your mind and you don't want them to be, please let us know as soon as possible. Yeah.
I couldn't find my mouse there. I couldn't unmute myself. Okay, so the home learning menu. We should have our first batch of home learning coming in today, which so far from what I've seen on Seesaw has been wonderful. Now, our home learning menu is the menu that you can see in front of you, and it's spread out for the children to complete throughout the whole term, so up until our October half term. It is split into subjects where there's 3 challenges per subject, and then we also have the WEC Learner Profile challenges and Skills Boost and CAP 4 challenges. The children are allowed to complete these in their own time, and also they should complete between 1 and 2 challenges weekly, and the ones at the bottom here, so for example the Skills Boost, they are ones that they should be completing more regularly, so every week. So for example, reading every day, exercising regularly, practicing mental maths. Spellings is also on there to practice your spellings every week. Spellings are uploaded onto the Padlet weekly. So last week I had uploaded the spellings that the children were tested on this week, and I've just removed those spellings and uploaded the ones that the children will be tested on next Sunday. So spelling tests are every Sunday, so the children need to make sure that they've had a good practice of those spellings throughout the week. Home learning at the moment, if on the instructions on the home learning activity it says that you need to make something or whichever, then what we request is that the children still do that activity, because it's amazing to see some of the creative designs that are being brought out, but we request that it stays at home and that a photo is taken and uploading onto Seesaw. Just obviously with everything that's going on at the moment, we need to make sure that we're bringing fewer things into school, as they won't be able to be touched by anybody else. But hopefully when things start to calm down a little bit, we can start bringing them in and filling up our outside area a little bit more with these things. For the spelling test, the children are given 15 spellings that all link to a spelling rule. So this week we have just done shus and shus, so C-I-O-U-S and T-I-O-U-S. The children are not tested on all 15 of the spellings. They are tested on 3 that are written out in a sentence. So I think one today was, "This cake was delicious." The children have to write the entire sentence, and we are looking for the spelling that is being used correctly. Often you will find that we have homophones in there where there's 2 words that obviously sound the same but mean different, and it's the children are having to take it upon themselves to find the correct meaning. So during their practicing of the spellings, they need to find the correct meaning of those words to know which ones would go into the correct sentence. So they are tested over 3 sentences every Sunday, and they will get a score out of 3. Going on to daily reading, we really promote children reading every day in school, whether it's for 15 minutes or an hour. It's completely up to them. But these are then recorded in their reading passports, which obviously at the moment we're not able to touch their work or their books. And so we have created a Seesaw activity where the children can take a photo of their reading passport page and upload it daily so that we can see. So it's kind of similar to what it was when they were bringing it in for us to have a look at. The parent does need to sign it, and they need to put on like which pages they read up to, just so we can keep a track of how often the children are reading and how much reading they are doing. Onto our Reading Rockets initiative and the word millionaire. When the children are registered to Accelerated Reader, they will get a username and password, and when they finish a book, as long as that book is an Accelerated Reader book, they will be able to take a quiz on that book where it tests the comprehension, the children's comprehension for that book and whether they've understood that book well. So they'll take a quiz. Some of them are 5 questions, some are 10 questions, and some are maybe 15 questions. At the end of it, the children will have to have scored 80% or more to then have said that they have passed the test, the quiz. When they have passed the quiz, they then are either get celebrated in the Accelerated Reader Assembly, and then the words that they have read will go towards their kind of word count, and when they hit 1 million words being read, they will receive a word millionaire certificate. And then our Reading Rockets are rockets that we have in our classroom where we have the children's pictures attached to them, and they range from 1 all the way up to, I think mine goes up to 100 maybe, and it's how many quizzes the children are taking. So every time they take a quiz and pass the quiz, because They can fail it if they don't answer enough comprehension questions, but enough comprehension questions correctly, sorry. And every time they pass the quiz, they move up the reading rocket. Now, Timetable Rockstars, this is something that we in Year 5 love. Timetable Rockstars is a really great initiative to get children practicing their multiplication skills and their division skills, and ensuring that they're doing this at a quick pace. Last week we did their Timetable Rockstars baselines to kind of see where they're at, and then that will support the questions that they're being given on the app as well. This is something that the children can do in their free time, and we also do it on Tuesday mornings as well during our morning activity.
Okay, as we said, we've kind of discussed a little bit about some of these apps, and these are optional extras. So again, the word optional and the word extras. Again, we do use Timetable Rockstars, and again, that's a great way for your child to practice their timetables, and they really, really love it. The little avatars, and they earn coins for answering questions correct, and they can then spend it on their avatars. You can tell that I've been on it a few times as well. And we do host competitions on there as well. So it's great for maths, and timetables really is the kind of the key in the lock to understanding mathematics. So that's why we really, really push that. Read Theory, again, there's a plethora of online books and stories and comprehensions that the children can access. And again, they often sit a bit of a baseline test on that, and they'll have a text and some questions off to the side, normally multiple choice. And then depending on how they answer it will depend on the type of text they get, and the levels go up and go down as well. And we'll get those passwords out to you, I believe, by the end of next week as well. So that's another thing for you. Education City, again, a nice resource with lots of interactivity on there as well. Children really tend to like that. And again, I believe those usernames and passwords have already come to you, or the children should be aware of them. And then a brand new app that we're looking to launch this year called Century. This, I believe, Year 5 were kind of the guinea pigs a little bit last year, and they tried out this new Century app. And so I'm sure there's going to be many, many questions about that. But when we're ready to launch that, we will be able to give you all of the information that you need to be successful for Century.
Sorry. What's happened here? Just bear with me 1 second. I don't know what I've done here. Hello? Am I?
We can hear you, Mr. Clark.
Sorry, I've made myself giant on the screen and I don't know how. Anyway, so just about our topics really. Like I said before, this is my second year in Year 5, and I have absolutely loved the topics that we did last year. They are some of my favourite topics I've ever taught. So the children are in for a real treat this year. Our first topic, which I'm sure they may have mentioned, and you'll have seen if you have looked at the home learning menu, is the ancient Greeks, which ties in really nicely with our history and geography objectives. And at the moment, whilst we're doing that, in science, we are looking at Earth and space to begin with. Now, Earth and space is one of my favourite things to learn about in science, and I know the children are really, really keen and excited to learn all about the planets and the solar system and spherical bodies and all things sciencey. So yeah, really good topics to start with. Later on in the year, we will move on to our eco topic, where we do things all about pollution, recycling, we create prototypes. You know, it's really good, and it ties in really well with our English as well. And then we do a separate history topic as well on the Anglo-Saxons later on in the year. So yeah, we've got loads to look forward to, some really cool lessons and activities for the children to do. They're going to love it. So I hope they're all as excited as me.
Okay, so usually this is something that we need to talk a little bit about, but actually with the children having been working from home for a very long time and now needing their iPads in school, it feels like it's a very familiar thing that we seem to be talking about at the moment. So the children in the next couple of days, weeks, will be signing an iPad agreement. And this is an agreement to say that they are going to be safe online, that they are not going to misuse their iPads, and that they are going to bring it in every day on 100% charge and ensuring that they're using it appropriately. Now, we started the year with an e-safety lesson to ensure that the children were reminded of how we're safe online, particularly as the children are able to access the internet at school. Obviously, there are blocks in place, and the use is always supervised with a teacher or an adult around the room to make sure that they are obviously being appropriate and everything online. So we have got everything in place to ensure that they remain safe. One thing I will speak on that is that obviously at the moment we're using our iPads in school pretty much 24/7. We're using them all the time, and the children are using them to be able to access their learning, because we're not allowed to necessarily share as many resources as we would like to, so we're having to upload them onto Seesaw. With this comes obviously use of the internet and use of their iPads, which means that I've had to ask a few times I've had to email parents just to ask if we can remove the time limits that may be on some of the search engines for the children and their internet usage. Because often if there's a time limit, the children are then no longer able to continue with a lesson because they have not been provided with the time to do so. So even if it's just the time limit isn't on between 7:30 and 3, that would be amazing, and then the time limit is on when they return home. Just if we could have it on during school times, that would be great, just so it doesn't limit their usage on there, because we do use it in every lesson. Then we go to Seesaw, where the children have now all logged on to their Seesaw. They are accessing their learning from there. They are uploading some of their work on there if it's not being completed in books. And we actually make the majority of our lessons very interactive to allow it to be used for the children that are currently remote learning, but also so that it is something that the children would necessarily be doing with resources, but we're still able to do it online. One thing that I've had to speak to my class quite a lot about is their messaging. Yes, at the moment we're using Microsoft Teams to be able to have these meetings and the lessons with the children. And what I'm finding is that they have learned how to find each other on there and message each other during lessons. I've kind of said to my class that this is an absolute no, and I've had a bit of a whinge about it, I suppose. But the children really do need to have it implemented into their time during school, that they are not to be messaging other children via Teams or iMessage or whichever, that they need to be making sure that they are focusing on the lesson, and that is their priority. It's not messaging their friends on Teams or wherever else they may be messaging. One thing that I will mention as well is headphones. So they may not have needed them when they were remote learning at home, and they certainly didn't need them when we were doing the old normal in school prior to remote learning. But headphones are really, really essential. We do a lot of our teaching where we are in front of a class, or we're showing the children a lesson online, and they need to be able to hear that without disrupting the other children in the classroom and in the room if they are learning in the breakout area. So it really is important that the children remember their headphones, and I can't stress that enough, because if the headphones aren't on and a child decides to unmute themselves to answer a question, I know Mr. Ashby knows about this all too well, is we get a very irritating, like, pranging noise that it sounds like something only dogs should hear. And it really disrupts the lesson, and you have all the children standing there covering their ears. So we really need to make sure that headphones come in, just so it's not a distraction in the lesson. And I just mentioned time on iPad, so obviously we really appreciate if the time limits could be removed between 7:30 and 3 if possible. I think I've mentioned everything about iPads. I've mentioned it from my own experience within my classroom. Do any of the other teachers have anything that you want to mention that maybe I've missed that's particular to your class? No, I think I've mentioned everything, unless someone's drastically trying to unmute themselves. But yeah, so it's really, really important. An iPad is a really essential and crucial part of our lessons nowadays. So that is it on iPads. Now, I'm just going to check the chat, because I feel like we've had some questions coming through. Oh, Miss Clark's been lovely and answered them. Can you please send the accelerated readers test link for remote learners? Yeah, so accelerated readers, we have already planned in for those to go ahead next Monday, and there will be a seesaw activity sent that will have all of the instructions for remote learners. So that will all be done next Monday. So please bear with us on that one. Do children already have login details for MyMath? Okay, so I wanted to talk about MyMath because we are now no longer using MyMath as a home learning tool. So MyMath will no longer be used for the children to do at home. Instead, with the implementation of Century, which is a core curriculum app that the children focus on all the objectives throughout English, science and maths for the Year 5 curriculum, that we don't want to overload the children with too many apps. And we've got like the fun ones, we've got Education City, we've got Timetable Rockstars, etc. They are the fun ones. So then by removing MyMath, we have put in Century, which targets English, maths and science as well. So MyMath will no longer be used as a home learning tool. Instead, it will be used for interventions and in class and for teaching support rather. Epic, the children should have their logins for Epic already. If they haven't, then they will be coming within the next couple of days. And Accelerated Reader, they won't receive those logins until Monday when we are able to do their star readers, because we can't have them quizzing if they don't know their ZPDs already. And Timetable Rockstars, they should already have those as well. Sorry. Epic login does not work post school hours. Do we need to take any special access for this? Oh, okay. Thank you, Miss Clark. So Miss Clark just answered that one, saying it's available 7 till 4. There's an option on Epic free for parents to input their emails, which will allow you to go on there for longer. How do teachers measure how many words the kids are reading? Is it only if they read Epic by 4 p.m? No. So on Accelerated Reader, obviously, as of next Monday, by next Monday, I don't mean tomorrow, I mean the following Monday, through Accelerated Reader, when they read a book and then quiz on it, those words, the Accelerated Reader has like the word count for that book, and that then goes towards the children's word count for them, for their reading, and it has like a little flower that it moves up for what they've been reading. So the Accelerated Reader, that calculates the word count. I promise we're not going through counting how many words the children have read, particularly if it's something like Harry Potter. GL revision activity maths, when have these been completed? Okay, so Skills Boost, I think some of you may have seen the notice that I put up on Padlet today. And we've just mentioned on there that should the children want to do any extra activities, if they go to the GL revision tab, then they will find a whole load of Year 4 objectives for English, maths and science that will link to the GLs. These are just to be completed in their own time whenever they wish. It's not essential for them to, it's not essential, it's not, we're not setting it as necessary homework. It's for the children to do in their own time when they please. I would suggest that they start completing these obviously as of now. We're doing our own GL revision in school, so this is them just to have to do a little bit of extra outside of school. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cooper, or anybody who's heard anything through the grapevine, but GLs are expected to come around October time.
Yes, over October.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. So yeah, now my final slide where it says like, we need you. Really, we need all the support from the parents. That is kind of, as well as obviously what the children give us, it also motivates us and helps us throughout our day-to-day, I suppose, learning. And having your support and knowing that you're kind of on our side and working with us to ensure that everybody is in the same boat and everybody is trying to ensure that the children are getting the best type of learning, then it's just amazing to know that the parents are always supporting us. So it is really great to know. I know that I've spoken to my team about it, and I've spoken to Mr. Cooper about it, when I've just said that over the last 3 weeks and the start of this whole new normal, I can't thank the parents enough for how supportive they've been. So honestly, I thank you so much for just how supportive you've been throughout the whole new normal, for ensuring that the children have everything they need, ensuring that they are coming in safe with masks and everything, and just kind of you've allowed us to kind of just get on with how we're doing it and how we're moving towards this new normal. And I think the saying is kind of, you've bared with us, so you've allowed us to take our time trying to get used to this new normal, as much as I'm sure you have and the children have. So a really big thank you to you, and we are really appreciative of your support. So thank you, Mr. Cooper.